Okay, so today we are finishing up the dress we started last week. For my daughter, we ran the elastic in the shoulders. Let me turn it right side out. She tried it on, so it's all wonky. So here we go. We've got the elastic put in around the shoulders, and we have attached, we had our straps attached in the front, and we went ahead and tried it on her and pinned them at the right spot. So the way I pinned them is I tucked the strap inside the dress here, and underneath the two ruffles I have a pin in place where it goes. So I'm going to put a straight pin now instead, and then we are going to stitch this down on both sides. So we're going to slide all of this, making sure, you got to be real careful, make sure you don't end up sewing in something you don't want to sew here. You can hand sew this too if that is easier. It frequently is when you're dealing with this much stuff. But as you all know, I don't like to hand sew if I don't have to. I tend to reserve my hand sewing for if I have to bead something or whatever. So I'm stitching underneath the ruffles, or the flounce as the pattern calls it, just so that it doesn't show up on the outside. So we're going to pull this out, clip my threads, and then we're going to go to the other one. So see, if you look on the outside now, it doesn't show up. I will probably go ahead and tack it down at the corners too, just because I like it to make sure it's nice and flat. Because yes, I hate doing it, but I also don't like my stuff to look wonky. We're going to go ahead and sew that forward and back. Pull this out, clip our threads. And those are our shoulder straps. As I said, if you want to tack down the two corners right up near the elastic, which I probably will do later, that's fine too. So next I'm going to hem the bottom. It is very rough. I'm going to hem it up twice. I'm going to do it once. I'm going to go ahead and go all the way around, then I'm going to fold it up again and go all the way around again. I'm not going to do it at the same time, which you can do if you're, especially if you're going to press it first, which I'm again being lazy and not doing. So I'm just doing a small little hem, the first one. I caught a piece of my fabric up. You'd think I would be better at not doing that by now. Disadvantages of working in a much smaller space than I have been working in the most recent past. You can, if you want, do this once and then fold it up, press it into a blind hem. If you want, if you know what that is. If you don't, just sew it. You can sew it by hand from the inside and make the stitches not show if you want. Whatever. Honestly, I've been making straight stitches on this whole thing, so it doesn't make any difference to me. I'm going to continue it with the stitches on the bottom as well, so it all is cohesive. But one thing you always want to remember with any of this is do your own thing. It is your project. If you're making yourself a dress, make yourself a dress. Make it the way you want it. Definitely be creative if you want. I mean, we're in a pandemic. Do your thing. Don't let anyone tell you it's not a good idea. Now your second time around, you can make the hem as deep or as short as you want. If you want a 1-inch deep hem, that's okay. If you want it to be super tiny, that's okay. Just make sure when you fold it up, whatever you do, that you are making sure all of these little fuzzy threads are contained inside the hem. Otherwise, I'd say it's whatever you want to do. You can also, if you want before, you can trim off any of the threads first. Or, I mean, honestly, you could just do it after if you want. Whatever works. Of course, I unthreaded my machine. Always remember to backstitch to lock your seams in place. Do your best to keep it even. Again, this is another place where if you iron it first, it might be helpful. If you get to a point where you realize that your seam is, when you're hemming, sometimes you'll run into, obviously where the bottom of your fabric is larger than where you're folding it up to, because it tapers out, which means the bottom is bigger. You can do a small fold over on the inside, which will help. I don't know that this pattern necessarily has that problem, but it definitely can be an issue in other patterns. Alright, and we're all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off of here, clip it, and we are basically done. You'll want to go through and trim up any threads, but what we end up with is a cute little ruffle top to the dress. Nice hem on the bottom. Hang on one second, folks. Okay, we are back. I went ahead and took the time to put it on the dress form so we can get an idea of what it's going to look like. All right, let me flip my camera around here. So here it is. Obviously, she needs a good pressing, but we have a cute little summery dress off the shoulders with little straps. And then I went ahead and I threw a little ribbon around the waist just to accentuate the waist, because it is, as I said, I make these a little bit larger when I'm making them for my daughter, and then I tailor them to fit her. So in this case, I haven't tailored it yet, so depending when I get a chance to do that will determine whether or not it still needs the ribbon around the waist. But it is a blousey loose dress, so very likely we'll want to accentuate the waist a little bit. But there you go. So that is the end of our off-the-shoulder lavender dress. I hope you enjoyed watching the videos of its creation. If you make it, I'd love to see pictures. We will be doing a couple more in the next few days. Also, we're going to be doing some cooking videos, so we'll see you then. All right, bye-bye.